Boring. That's how I describe modern AAA gaming. Absolutely, positively boring without a shadow of a doubt. It is the same monotonous purple yellow color scheme, live service to whip away, cover-based action adventure, story-driven, cutscene heavy, cinematic game every single time. I'm sick of it, I'm tired of it, and unfortunately, for some insane reason, the games industry loves these kinds of games because only a few actually sell properly and only a few garner the billions of dollars they want to have come in consistently, yet all they do is sit there and chase the actual trend instead of innovating something new and providing the customer, you, the gamer, with a new experience every single time while managing their budgets. It's all so easy, yet every game developer and publisher refuses to do it. What am I talking about? Well, it turns out that yesterday we got a bit of news concerning Warner Brothers, EA, and PlayStation. 3 out of the 4 of video games. That's right. Because the other one, Take-Two, is too busy trying to make GTA 6 and figure out another way of squeezing out every dollar out of you, trying to get more shark cards every time they put out a new Grand Theft Auto game. Don't worry. We'll talk about that in another video as well. But let's see what actually happened, shall we? Because honestly, the way things are going in gaming, it's almost like every publisher feels that a live service game is going to be what saves them, when in reality, that's not even close to the case at all. Electronic Arts is suggesting that Dragon Age The Veilguard might have sold better if it was a live service game from Eurogamer. I just can't. I really can't. This is honestly one of the dumbest things I've ever seen or heard ever at any publisher whatsoever. Making Dragon Age Veilguard a live service game would not have helped the game's sales at all. In fact, it would have made them even worse than what they actually were. Maybe it's because they took the spiritual successor of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, making Dragon Age from a dark fantasy RPG into today's Marvel iconic, boy what a quippy line that was, purple yellow color scheme again all over to try and make it a more comedic kind of game with the worst animation, the dumbest writing. I just can't wait to pull a Bob and doing stupid push-ups in the game and then being like, oh, the reason why the game didn't sell wasn't because you tried to pander to an audience or create a horribly written game. No, it didn't sell because it wasn't a live service. God, these companies have no fucking clue what they're doing. All they had to do was say, hey, look at what Baldur's Gate 3 did. They made an entirely very adult, mature role-playing game that gave you tons of options, had really great writing, great voice acting, and you could fuck a bear. Yeah, everybody wanted that game, but nobody wants Dragon Age Veilguard. When if you look back and you see the writing of Dragon Age Origins compared to Veilguard, it's like someone took the writings of Tolkien and said, hey, you know it'd be great if I rewrote Lord of the Rings, but I put my spin on it because it's got to be for a modern audience. It's just... these game developers and publishers want to do nothing more than put their own stamp on things and try to sit there and say they can do things better. They can't do it better. You know why? Because they didn't do it originally. You don't go to Tolkien. You don't go to Baldur's Gate. You don't go to Dragon Age and be like, we're just going to ignore all the canon, all the writing, and do things our way, guys. It'll be a total success. Do you know why Baldur's Gate 3 was so successful? Because it respected the source material of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. It didn't bastardize it. I'm getting angry, not because of just BioWare is becoming a shell of what it used to be. It literally is. They fired over 100 people recently, and Mass Effect 5 is going to be in the because of it. Mass Effect 5 is going to be the next Anthem 2.0. Surprise! We're going to be living in that horrible space and timeline. The worst timeline, by the way. And it gets even better. And by better, I don't mean good, I mean actually worse. Check this out. Because PlayStation was in fact pitched Resistance 4 by Insomniac, and it was turned down. Oh, I'm sorry. Was it not another Horizon game with a different bow that you couldn't sell to a billion people having the most boring, bland gameplay ever? Could you not sit in a bush and wait for an icon to disappear over your head and then do the exact same takedown you would do in every single Sony game every time? It was a different perspective. Oh, we can't have first-person perspective games on PlayStation, apparently. No! Why would we ever want something like that? New or different. Aha! Yes, let's turn down Resistance 4, which could have been a great return to form or even a reboot of Resistance in the first place, to then possibly have a different kind of game in their catalog instead of being the same Toy Poison cover-based action-adventure game with the stealth elements. I'm so sick of it, bro, because you know Wolverine is going to be the exact same thing, down to the letter, to the T, the exact same kind of like, let me talk to myself as I climb over this specific sort of rubble in the actual area, trying to get past a different area and zone.
Glowing lights. This must be the Zenith base. Looks like they have a shield around the entire place. Of course, they'd make their base on their own private island. Hold on, Beta.
Ah, yes. What a great set of gameplay. Oh, another QuickTime event. Everybody press X. Oh, boy. Thrilling and riveting. It's just so frustrating to see that so many game developers and publishers are doing this kind of thing, that they're sitting there turning down games that could have been a good B+ game that could have sold a couple million copies. One or two isn't that bad if they would have budgeted the actual process and project correctly. But no, every game has to be $500 million Concord failure plus, I guess. Isn't that a great idea? Why not just reduce the budget of what you were going to be looking for in Resistance, have a proper team work on it on the side, and then put the game out as a B+ game? It may not win Game of the Year, but goddamn, selling 1 million copies is better than selling 0. It's the most infuriatingly frustrating thing ever, because now Warner Brothers is also doing something totally... According to Tom Henderson on Twitter, the Wonder Woman game is years away from release as the Warner Brothers gaming division in fact struggles. Tom, in fact, continues by saying Wonder Woman has apparently cost $100 million to develop and, in fact, has been rebooted. It is mind-boggling that no one over there seems to realize that at these costs and 3 to 4 more years of development time, it's already going to be a financial loss. That is exactly what it's going to happen because we've already sunk in $100 million. Not we, Warner Brothers has put in $100 million into Wonder Woman for literally nothing to come out for all these years, to now wait another 3 to 4 years for the game to come out, spending around Concord $400 million, probably more than likely, to then go ahead and shove it into the actual trash. Just take the L of 100 milli and do something else. But they won't do that. You know why? Because apparently, you're going to get a kick out of this one. Apparently, they canceled the Flash game because the movie did bad. They canceled the Flash game because the movie of the Flash was bad. The two things that aren't related one another to whatsoever, only by the main character of the Flash. And then the even crazier part is they were going to have a Constantine game that was also pitched, but that was never approved. The insanity and just ridiculousness of this industry really is astounding to me. They will spend hundreds of millions of dollars on video games and have the expectation that that game has to make a return of 3 to 5 to 10x of what they spent, even though it is literally impossible for them to have that kind of return. Take a trip with me here, shall we? Just take a wild ride with me on this one, okay? Imagine if you had a Constantine game that was in the vein of The Witcher. A role-playing Constantine game where you had to sit there and create very ambiguous decisions and become morally gray in the situation and the world you're in. Tell me that would not be the most baller game you've honestly ever played. It's literally the perfect role for that kind of character. And we're going to sit here and be like, Constantine? No. Who's going to play a game called Constantine? I bet some marketing guy was like, nobody's going to play a game called Constantine. The Flash? Ha! Just because the Flash is responsible for every major event that happens in the DC universe doesn't mean that he's actually going to be responsible for a game now, right? The Flash. Get out of here. Ha! This ridiculous behavior of game journals and publishers is exactly why we're seeing gaming become the most boring, bland, ridiculously just garbage infested thing you could possibly imagine. Now, I know that's a lot to take on, but the thing is, I haven't been excited for video games in a very long time. I've gone back to buying old PS1 and PS2 games. I'm playing more Nintendo games emulated. I'm playing more Path of Exile. You know why? Because 150 guys in New Zealand can make better video games and make better content than multi-billion-dollar corporations spending hundreds of millions of dollars. Can somebody explain that to me? Am I taking crazy pills? Like, this is just absolutely absurd, because every single time we see this, these publishers dump all kinds of money into these games, yet provide nothing of value in return. Why is it that back in the day during the PS1, OG Xbox, PS2, all these other generations, we had tons of high quality, vastly different games, yet for now, every single game is purple and yellow? No. Go look at it right now. Every game you see out now with key art is purple and yellow. You're going to recognize it. It's going to burn its image into your brain, because in the 360 PS3 era, it was all orange and blue. Oh, no, go. Go back and look at the Mass Effect 1 case and you tell me I'm wrong. Orange and blue. That was. Tell me I'm wrong. Oh, oof. It's always these same two color schemes that they always try to use. It's always these contrasting colors. Nobody knows what is even happening anymore, because everything just melts together and looks the same. Everything wants to be this live service, cover-based action game that never really provides you with any sort of real content. That is just the most bland, boring thing that they just try to get the most casual audience member to try and buy. Maybe stop doing that. Maybe create something new. Even if it's not going to sell 100 million copies, at least create something that will create a groundswell of people that will get into it. A good solid B game at $50 at $49.99 will sell millions of copies, at least 1 to 2, more so than having to toss an entire $400 to $500 million whip away quality game into the actual trash and refund everybody because nobody knew what they were doing and you hired too many people in the first place. Gaming budgets are not the problem of the consumer. They're the problem of the business. And if they can't figure out how to budget correctly, hey, sucks to suck, I guess. But a bigger thing that actually resonates with why I picked this sort of thing to talk about is because there was a quote done from the Wonder Woman devs recently from an interview, and here's what they had to say. According to the interviews with 24 current and former Warner Brothers employees, a lack of strong, cohesive vision during Haddad's reign and a tumultuous period in which Warner Brothers struggled through multiple reorgs led to years of ineffectual trend chasing and wasted development time. Along the way, once revered studios under the Warner Brothers umbrella have taken reputational hits, lost key staff members, and burned through hundreds of millions of dollars. It continued. Yes. There are two words in this paragraph that are so important about the Wonder Woman game that resonate with every single thing happening with gaming right now. And that is trend chasing. Stop doing it. Everybody's sick of it because every game now looks like Fortnite, because Fortnite did the whole purple yellow color scheme, because Fortnite did the whole live service thing. Everybody wants Fortnite dollars, but nobody wants to put in the work to be Fortnite. How's that? Yeah, everybody want to be a bodybuilder, but nobody want to lift no heavy ass weight. They think that dumping a bunch of money and hundreds of millions of dollars is going to return what Fortnite makes, when that's not the case at all. Fortnite is an anomaly. It's not going to be repeated more than once, and that's the issue people don't understand. They're chasing the dragon. They're riding brain down into recovery land of being on a sidewalk doing nothing else with their lives. That's the problem with these publishers. It is insane to me that they are continually doing this kind of behavior and acting this way, and publishers are still trying to do this. We had Ubisoft, whatever you want to call them, try to sit there and say Skull and Bones is a quadruple A game. Quadruple A, bro. We're just making shit up now. And yet here comes Mario Kart 9 on the Switch 2 probably. That's going to sell way more than they could ever imagine. Made by 3 guys in a shed probably. Video games are in a real state, man. They're in a real state, and we see this every single time. And people are going to be like, Alex, well, if you play different games, you wouldn't feel this way. It's not about the fact that different games exist, because they do. And I'm glad that they get a whole ton of shine and actual really great space on the actual internet, and people get to enjoy those different kinds of games being made by indie devs, small AA studios, and etc. I loved Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. I thought that was my game of the year in 2024. It was exactly what we need, a fresh palate cleanser to wash all that garbage away. Yet we get those games so few and far between. People have to go off and dig through mountains of horrible games to get to that one beautiful B+ tier game that is exactly what they're looking for to try and get that today. And we don't have that anymore like we used to back in the 360 days. The problem is game development is too expensive, and the budgeting is far too high, and the risk is too great for these developers and publishers to be like, no, let's minimize the budget, let's reduce everything and make adjustments so that way we can actually have a proper game come out that people will like, have it be a sleeper hit, and then build an audience for that game from there. Then the sequel comes out and that's amazing, that's insane, what a great game. Then the third one comes out and we're gonna drop the ball on that one, like they always tend to do. But the thing is, they're chasing that trend far too often. In fact, look at this. Rocksteady is reportedly working on a single-player Batman game now. Do you really think Rocksteady now has the actual pedigree to turn around and make a proper single-player Batman game like they used to make in the past? No. Everybody who worked at Rocksteady during that time and made those games great and what they are and what people are looking back to today, they're not there anymore. They're gone. They've moved on to other projects or other studios. Rocksteady that you know of, that you used to love, is only a shell of its former self. Same thing with BioWare. These companies are only there via name. And just because Rocksteady is going to be making another Batman game, it doesn't mean it's going to be as good as what you remember they were back in the day when they were fucking amazing. Just stop. Just stop. Stop chasing trends. Stop trying to be the next Fortnite. Stop trying to be the next Call of Duty. It's so simple for these companies to go through and say, hey, why don't we just make a just middle of the road, good game, and then go from there and then decide how that pans out. When Astrobot wins Game of the Year, when Baldur's Gate 3 goes out and destroys sales records and wins multiple Game of the Year awards, when Doom the Dark Ages comes out and literally just mops the floor with everything, it isn't going to matter what actually happens. And the fact that everybody's getting out of the way of GTA 6 pretty much goes to show that you don't have a snowball's chance in hell of winning Game of the Year. So you might as well, instead of actually trying to go through and compete with it directly, just make a good game instead. Get out of that game's way and let them fail on their own, because honestly, in my personal opinion, I think GTA 6 is going to be mid. I said it. I think there's too much writing on that game, and Take-Two is going to screw it up in some way, in some weird monetizational scheme to try and get more money out of you than they did in GTA 5. I'm calling it. But you know what? I'm being biased because I always thought the GTA series was in fact mid. You play it for about 20 minutes, you get in your car, you do the thing that everybody else always does, you get your money back, and then you ride off. Boring. But until the gaming industry, in fact, crashes, we're going to be dealing with the exact same thing every time. The same kind of game from PlayStation, the same kind of game from EA, the same kind of game from Take-Two and from Warner Brothers and from everybody else, where nobody's trying anything new or different because they're too scared to spend the money or just adjust their budgets accordingly and their sales expectations accordingly, because the line has to always go up for some weird reason. And if the line goes down, that's a bad thing altogether. But hey, don't mind me. I'm just the guy who thinks the gaming industry should crash again. It honestly should. So ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. Do you have the same thoughts and ideas that I do about this industry? Or do you think that, hey, we're just along for the ride, might as well just pick a couple games up and enjoy them? If you want to see more of this kind of content though, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, my hot takes in the gaming industry, fanboy content, and live streams every Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 78,000 subscribers, and I just want to say thank you guys so very much. If you also want to have Discord access and emotes during live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't sweat it. Show up Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, for the live stream. Trust me, it's a hell of a time. It'll be real appealing as well. That's a banana joke. You'll see why when you show up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you next time.